Rival schools.
Oh yeah. Uh, Smash Hitter 2, my friend Roland. Had a feeling you was gonna pick this game, bro. Um, and I'm shocked once again, only one guy. One person submitted it. But Capcom, Rival Schools, yes. How long has it been since we seen a Rival Schools game? The last game to come out for Rival Schools was from the Dreamcast, called Project Justice. Rival Schools series is just as popular as the Street Fighter series. It pretty much all it is Street Fighter, uh, you know, high school. Pretty much, that's pretty much what you should just call it. You know, either a re-image. I wouldn't do a re-image. Maybe I would just do another sequel, another game. You know, I've been thinking about how they can do that. Like, you know, instead of the main story of the game would be that a new school has arrived or so and it's been built and it's far dangerous than Justice. You know, Justice High School always had that dark feel to it. It was always this, but this new school would put Justice High School, make Justice High School look like kindergarten or something. You know, but if they would just do a re-imaging of the game, and I would take that as well. Smooth out the graphics as well. Would I take the look of how Street Fighter 4 looks? Yeah, I pretty much would. I didn't have no problem with how Street Fighter. I know a lot of people that said they don't like the look of Street Fighter 4. They didn't like it. I thought it was a good mixture of 2D and 3D animation because let's face it, the 3D that Street Fighter when they did the Street Fighter EX, that just did not look right to me, and it just wasn't right for me, and I just couldn't stand that. I don't even consider those two games actually even around, a part of the Street Fighter legacy. They don't exist to me. They really don't. Um, but then somebody might say, "Oh, but Chris, aren't you looking forward to when Tekken does Tekken Cross Street Fighter?" And yes, I am. I'm looking forward to seeing how they transition the Street Fighter characters into the Tekken universe. And just seeing some of the images, they look really sweet. But the thing about Tekken, their 3D looks just unbelievable. It's almost like CGI animation. See, it's different. But Rival Schools is another game out of Capcom's franchise, the Capcom flag, that needs a remake or another game that would suit and have the characters loving and willing and thrilling and just all over. You know, it bothers me that there hasn't been another game out for that. You know, and with the success of Street Fighter 4, which the producer has Nobag, I'm forgetting his name, the producer has always said, yeah, if the success of 4s, then you will see those other games. Well, it's time to start because those are big businesses as well, and they can help your company, and that's pretty much what people are saying Capcom's all about now is this. So if you want to make a good business decision, bring out those games for this. You know what I'm saying? But I think the fans like me, like Roland, and other people who loved Rival Schools back in the days would love to see this game brought back. That's just the way I look at it. But I knew my friend would submit this, and I'm glad he submitted it because I get to talk about it a little bit. But just keep that old feel of Rival Schools for me. Good choice, Roland.
Kung Fu.
Kung Fu. Wow. Takes me back. NES. A reimaging or remake of Kung Fu would be good for the Nintendo Wii. An action adventure game. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm totally forgot. This was submitted by Super Spider Saint. Sorry. Uh, yeah, that was a classic game, guys, and it kind of was supposed to be like homage to, you know, Bruce Lee as well, but it was a it was a funny game, you know. You go from up, you would go up the stages, and it was one way. You go back up, or you go forward, but mainly you go forward in the game. Um, I would re-image this game to more of an action adventure game where it's kind of like Ninja Gaiden or God of War and all those types of games with quick time events and things like that. But it'll definitely come out for the Wii because it was a Nintendo game. But that game, that game would really make sense to remake for the Wii. I find it would be really, really fun to play again. Uh, Maybe in a way even keep some of their old music. But Kung Fu, good choice, Saint. Another good choice. Very good. Bum, bum, bum. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, we keep moving on, guys, and we're still moving on, still moving on. And we're going back to Lee, Devil Knight. And he submitted this time, as you saw, Dino Crisis. Another Capcom game that was pretty much fairly like uh, the old Resident Evil games, but this time around, it was all about dinosaurs. And, raptors, Allosaurus, T-Rex. And then, of course, they had the final boss in the first game was that Mega Rex. Like, he was this huge dinosaur that you had to... Yeah, I think it was the second one. Well, I could be wrong about that. But I know there was a couple of huge dinosaurs you had to fight, and you had to use laser beams on them. The game was fun. That game was really fun. The first two were good. When they took it way off course. Capcom took it way off course, having dinosaurs in space and stuff like that. Where I was like, what, get this crap out of here. That y'all, you ruined it. You ruined it. So having a remake or of the first game would give it a little more feel to it. Instead of doing what they did and try to go off balance with it, because they went way off balance. I'm talking about it was balanced out with the first two, and then once that third one came off balance, that's how bad that. I don't know anybody that likes the third one. The third one came out for the Xbox actually, while the other two came out for the PlayStation 2. And the first two were great, but that third one, man, just messed it up. So a Dino Crisis remake or relaunch would be cool. I would take it. Maybe even Capcom should kind of give it a little feel of what they did with the Resident Evil series. A little bit. That would be cool. But definitely, it needs to be relaunched much better. So once again, Lee, good friend, my friend from across the pond. Another good choice, bro.
Shining Force.
Dun, 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 dun. Shining Force. Yeah, Shining Force. I like Shining Force. I loved playing Shining Force for the Genesis. Um, this was Shining Force was submitted by Shadow Goth Ryu. I always talk to her. He always sends me messages and things like that. I like to communicate with Shadow Goth. Um, it was basically Sega had Phantasy Star and then and also Shining Force. They made a couple of Shining Forces games. They even actually remade Shining Force, uh, and it actually came up for the iOS, believe it or not. Um, but Shining Force was more of a fantasy game. It played more to the fantasy. It reminded me of one of my favorite anime series of fantasy called Record of the Lotus Wars. Pretty much that. A lot of centaurs and elves and you know gnomes and people like that, goblins. It had a little bit of steampunk involved in it, but it mainly stayed with the fantasy stuff. Uh, you can kind of call it Sega's version of Final Fantasy. I would love to see a remake of that, a decent remake. And since Sega is a third-party company now, not a first-party company, which means for all that don't know what that means they only make games for their system, so they could put it on any system now. So I would put it on all the systems that are on now and give it a feel of a next gen RPG game. And there's been plenty of next gen RPG games out there that have sold well besides the beloved Final Fantasy. So giving it a new feel, new look would be great. Another good choice, Shadow Goth. Very good choice. Can't wait to see what else you bring to the table.
Shenmue.
Another good choice, guys. Another good choice. We had three people who submitted this. We had Mighty Mal 1000, formerly known as Young J-Way. We had my friend Juan White Dragon. And we have also Loving Keisha Cole. He's some basically I just call LKC. These they were three people that submitted Shenmue, and if I'm not mistaken, LKC even said that that was his first open world video game. And if I'm not mistaken, Shenmue really is the first one to do that with the open world game. Shenmue was a great game for the Dreamcast. I love that game. They only brought out two, and each one had about 3 chapters on it. The game was supposed to be a total of 16 chapters, and unfortunately it stopped after 2. And not even a remake, just bring out the rest of the chapters. That's all I'm saying. I want to know how this game ends. I want to know, do you pretty much evolve enough to take on Lan Li? You know, I don't I don't want I just feel, as a fan of that game, guys, I feel like we're losing it. I feel like that's it. We can't finish the rest of the story. Now I heard that there's talks that Yu Suzuki, who created the game, is talking about bringing out a whole big compilation of the whole game for, I think, the next gen system to finally wrap it up. Because I would take that. I would take just a huge game with all the other chapters on it to wrap that game up, because I like that game. I thought it was good. It had a feel of, open world experience. Of course, you had to be places. You had to be in this place at a certain time. Also, the fighting engine was pretty much Virtual Fighter. How wrong could you go with that? So not even a remake. Just bring out the other chapters. So thank you guys for submitting that, because I thought I was the only one that loved Shenmue and want the rest of the chapters to come out.